Okay, welcome into the first episode of maybe many. We'll see how many people view this and think it's a good idea of Patch Notes with Hindu Man. Obviously, I'm no longer on the show for the Patch Notes show, which is fine. Don't worry about it. All I do is read fucking notes anyway, right? I don't really get to have my opinion or my real say. I'm there to give you the information. And sure, you might be able to read out my face sometimes, but I never really kind of say my piece. But now, well, there's an opportunity for me to maybe have a little talk about my thoughts on the patch and like what I see is good, what I see is bad. And sure, you may feel I'm biased towards high res or certain and things. So is everyone, right? Like, get over it, first of all. Sure, you're probably not all biased to high res, but at the same time, I'm not going to be that way if I can. So I'm going to give you a breakdown of the patch notes from my point of view and see exactly like what I think about them and give my opinion and how this could change things, or just just see overall like where things went this time around. And it's also good info for me to just catch up on because that's why I watched the patch notes too. Being on the show made it easier. I kind of was up to date. So without further ado, we'll go through this one. And after a quick scan, I think I'm going to call this one The Rise of the Auto Attack Mages. Because, well, as we go on the list, you'll see exactly why I think that way. It's pretty clear for those who've already seen the patch notes. I can definitely see the rise of the auto attack mages coming through with some buffs to them, their itemization, and well, what we've seen so far with the likes of Freya. Anyway, Project Olympus, let's start here real quick. I'm not going to go through skins and stuff. If you want a skin stream, there's plenty of people that do that. All you need to know is the Ho Yi Ultimate is fucking insane. It's ridiculous. I don't know how they're ever going to top something like that again. Hopefully they do, because that just makes things even better. Great skin, and also Geb got a skin, and that's the only thing that's important. Geb actually got a skin because he deserves one, and he is life. Anyway, Project Olympus, live March 10th, esports and live streams, fix an issue where client showed incorrect times. Great, so now you all know the games are going to begin. Just so you know, they're going to be at 3 p.m. on mainly Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays, except the first week, which will be a Saturday and Sunday only. Look at me with that knowledge. Next up, integrate a new reporting tool, making it easier for higher support team. Cool. Hopefully it helps out with all the issues that people are saying they're having with reports and things. Live with the launch of 7.3, we're going to increase the duration of assault timers by 10 seconds and set match of the day to match assault to ensure players have enough time to re-roll and trade. Good idea, makes a lot of sense. I know there's a little bit of a weird spike into the assault game now and again. I think you've all probably felt it somewhere in your console games or on your PC. And this probably just gives that window a little bit more. It doesn't matter for the main game, but it's a really just nice little touch of like realizing that this is going to help a little bit more there. Esports and live stream added SPL rosters to the info tab. Thanks, guys. I'm glad you all pushed for it. I wanted it there too. That's all I'm going to say on that, so I'm pretty pleased about that one. Bug fixes. Fix an issue where where speed buff on certain maps would display the bonus as 15%. Thanks very much to all the OCD people out there for that one. Very important that we get that fixed. Caparino, but at the same time, sure, OCD fix, it should display right, yada yada yada. Moving along. Jungle practice towers on the minimap now reveal stealth units. Cool. I'm really glad you're all trying to practice Morrigan diving towers or Loki diving towers. Fantastic work there. Oh, Ao Kwang, if you want to go that far. Or is an army, to go through all 4 of them. Is there 5? I can't remember off the top of my head. 4 will do. User interface. Fix an issue where players would be able to invite party members. Cool, this is a good fix to just fix with party lockout issues and kick timers and stuff like that. Nice little fix there. Fix an issue with invalid account links between Twitch and Smite. That's unfortunate. Just a reminder for you all guys as well, right? If you're watching Smite game, make sure your fucking account's linked. Just go in game, link your account. It's not that hard. Like, I'll even bring it up on stream real quick for you. You go real quickly. If you've done this already, you're going to be tilted about this. I didn't tune in for this patch notes, but look, right? See that here? Just click here, okay? And it'll link your accounts for you. If you're having issues, relink them again. It's not rocket science. It's not ridiculously hard work to do there, okay? Just go and do it. So that's good news. What was the next bit? Twitch, data-driven auto-buy, recommended items address an issue was causing some guys to recommend builds and boots. Sure, I mean, here's the thing with the auto-buy stuff, right? Like, I know a lot of the fans get tilted about auto-buy and the recommended items that come with auto-buy. Well, at least with auto-buy, the idea of it is just to get the player in the fucking door, right? It's not to teach them everything in the game. This game is so complex and deep. and trying to give them a good semi-structured build path. Sure, it's never going to be perfect, boys and girls, unless you've got someone that is literally getting paid to just focus on that with 100 plus gods, right? It's not an easy task realistically, but at the same time, it's just to get people in the door and get them to understand it. And eventually, Pine is part of the game, and understanding builds is part of the game. It shouldn't be something that's glanced over. So auto buy really is for the newer players. And in a weird way, if you're seeing people use an auto buy as a newer player, you should be giving them a bit of a chance to get better at the game first of all, and giving them a bit of a break if you do come up against people who are using auto buy. They might not be ready to use it yet, expand to learning items just yet, but at some point they should be. Maybe bring that with them. Gods and items. Vision Shard fixing issue where auto buy and AI bots when upgrading Vision Shard to over relics. Well, shit me sideways. That's just buffed all the AI bots in the game. Does that mean my teammates were bots? Is that what that's telling me there? Also, don't look at my streams. I definitely have had issues doing that. I'm not going to lie. Mulan fixing issue where Mulan's sword would disappear when using emotes in a certain order. Well, shit, that's just a nerf, right? Wouldn't it be cooler to have an invisible sword so people can't see you attacking? So it technically is a nerf, but a fix. Isis fixed an issue where their particle effects on the third hit of her basic attack chain were not the correct size. Interesting. I guess they were the correct size, but I guess they were still in the same area because they're not mentioned that. So, alright, skins. This stuff, normally I don't really, I do care about skin stuff, and I think the fans don't realise why, right, a lot of the time. Adjusted audio multiple times. This just makes things a little bit clearer and people be able to hear. Fix issue with audio and the third ability to stop playing. We can also have volume. Great. Fucking fan dabby dozy. So excited. Very, very pleased. Much needed. Wow. Not really. Weekend's cool. But use my voice pack. On to actual items then. This is the bonus balance. Is going to be live 10th of March, so before the rest of the balance. If you've not realised this is like the new way hires are going to be doing this, it seems. Blink nerf, huge change to this. Everyone's going to rage and tweak the fuck out. Let's be real quick, okay? Blink on 120-second cooldown is fucking nutty. Right, so I'm fine with the cooldown increase here. Now the range thing I can definitely see people having issues with, but overall this item is still going to do what you want it to do. The difference is 10 range of units, and that is probably going to make an impact to a lot of people. They're going to have to be a little bit closer, which means you've got more chance for stepping on a ward. It also means some of the walls might be a bit trickier to get through to an extent, but realistically they should be able to get through all of them, I think. There might be one or two off the top of my head that they might struggle with a little bit, but it just means you've got to be more closer in position. And sure, it's a big nerf to this item, but at the same time Blink is very, very strong. Let's be honest, it's strong right now. For an example of this, and I'm just going to give this reference, League of Legends has Blink in the game. It's called Flash for them. That's not fucking... I don't even know what it is now, but I'm guessing it's still around 5-minute fucking cooldown. Sure, the game's slightly different, but massively different. But at the same time, it just shows how much displacing and movement really is effective. So, having that on a bit of a longer cooldown, I can agree with. The range is definitely something that people are going to adjust to. It's going to be tricky. I don't think this is dead, but I don't think we're going to see it on 3 fucking players every damn game, you know? If anything, I do want to say I hate the junglers because they're the ones that have forced this issue. Because realistically, before that, it was only really supports that ever picked this up. And as a support main, I'm going to have a little whinge about that. Because now that means that it's going to be trickier for us to maybe engage for our teams sometimes. So, gods like Geb, Sylvanas, who use Blink pretty regularly. Obviously, I play those two quite a bit, so I am going to whinge a little bit about it. They're going to be hurt quite a bit from this, but this really boils down to multiple people buying Blink, including some solo laners too, to be honest. So we'll probably see some less usage of it. I still think it's going to get used though. Realistically, I think this is still... It's not dead, okay? Let's put it that way. It's not dead. It's just not as good. Mace. Really like this change to Mace, actually. Moving to the 700 to 650. And the explanation here makes a lot of sense, too. Like with what they've listed here. It really is just to give a bit more different viable build paths for the junglers. Because now they can go Assassin's Blessing. And... I think I actually did it on here real quick. If I just pull this up. My game wants to work, please. Thank you. I did not know here, I think. Yeah, so at the start of the game you can go Assassin's Blessing, Mace, and now 2 potions or that, or Hand of the Gods if you really want it instead here. Assassin's Blessing Morning Star is another option, you know, for that. So you've got those 2 different build paths that junglers can potentially go. There's going to be others as well, but these are like the 2 most common ones we kind of see. So making the 650, that's why Morning Star is a little bit more attractive for a lot of it, and also Transcendence being a big rush, and Hydras too. Like, this builds into some really good items, as you can see there. Definitely impactful, affecting. Okay, I'm moving on because I don't want to get this too long. But yeah, I like that change. She's the Magi, 8% lifesteal, 100 mana. Price stays the same. Whoa, bro, whoa. Like this like a lot of people are like, yeah, this doesn't mean much, or people aren't really thinking about it. It's not going to be built on everyone. I'll be clear. It's really not. I'm just using agony for the movement bit. Where is my movement? Why is it always disappearing on me? As you can see, this isn't as prepared as a patch notes career of this month. But here's the issue, right? For me, Shoes of the Magi, 75 power, 18% movement speed for 1550. That's pretty good already. The price point is going to stay the same, according to the notes. So it's 8% lifesteal on top of 75 power and 100 mana. These boots are fucking pretty good, right? Like, I think they're going to be pretty good, but I don't think they're going to be good on every mage. I think these are really going to focus on your auto attack mages that build Bancrofts. Not necessarily Bancrofts, but lifesteal builds. The Freyas, Anubis, sure, because Anubis loves his lifesteal. Hades could get a bit of love out of this too, to an extent. Could potentially see him get a bit more lifesteal early on in his builds. But also Freya, Oleron, Sol, like these are all considerations with these boots where I think it will be effective. And if anything, the stats of this item overall might just draw more mages into it because of the cost efficiency of what you're getting off that for 1550. Remember, it's 50 gold cheaper than the Shoes of Focus. Now, I'm not trying to say Shoes of Focus are dead. Cooldown reduction is really cool and really important for mages, and I think we'll still see quite a few of them, but it does present a couple more options. This is definitely a buff, though, to the mages that use lifesteal as part of their builds, and most of those are auto-attack based. The Freyas, the Olerons, the Sols, like I said. Transcendence, talk about cooldown. I like this change. I think it should keep the cooldown in a weird way. It kind of made Transcendence a little bit more regular and meta again, but because it got it straight away, I think it was such a big boost to the junglers. But this also doesn't hurt its viability in the Hunter role, in my opinion. I think the 10% cooldown on this item, like being given up front, made junglers a lot more viable and wanting to go for this earlier on because they were still getting cooldown reduction, right? So like it's a free win for them as well as the trade up of getting power over time in the MP5 from this item. So changing it to like the 10% cooldown reduction when fully evolved, it's kind of like a reward for getting to that stage in a way, and that cooldown reduction is still really handy for a hunter. So I don't think this item's dead. It is a potentially effective nerf. Is it going to be enough to take it out of the meta all the time? Who knows? I mean, there is a lot of talk about hunter items, but from a jungler's point of view, I think it's more of a consideration for them of like, well, am I going to get my stacks in time to really get this cooldown appropriately and at the right sort of time to make it effective? It definitely means stacking it is a little bit more important too. So junglers that go this, you're going to be wanting stacking more, but then again, the reason you don't really go stacking items in the jungle is because it takes a while to clear out all those freaking camps to get it. Alright, more Cuckoo nerfs. You guys have been on a wild ride with him. Poor Cuckoo. He's been OP for fucking ever, and now just lately everyone's just like really excited about him. Like, oh my god, he needs nerfs. Well, you all left him on a heap forever, right? So put him back on the heap, I guess. So decreased power gain from mana from 5% to 4%. That's huge. Like, that's a really big swing for him there. And not only that, the cooldown on his ultimate. I can agree with the cooldown on the ult. I'm not going to lie. It's 20 seconds is a long time on an ultimate, though, in my opinion. Like, 20-second increase for a god that doesn't get that much cooldown in his builds. Like, Cuckoo builds, like, don't really get much focus on cooldown. Sorry, Cuckoo builds don't get much focus on cooldown. I did say it right, but it was scared I didn't. So that's the issue here that I see with this. Is like, this is a pretty big nerf, so we'll see how he goes. I think he's still going to be useful because people are really like, well, unused to the map at the moment, and like the jungle corridors being a bit narrower have definitely allowed the likes of Kukulkan to come into the meta. Just to be real, I've been doing this for 7 years now, and Kukulkan and Poseidon have never been in the meta at the same time. But when one of them fades off, the other one rises in, and over time it's mainly been Poseidon. Don't be surprised to see a little bit more Poseidon viability with this change, because Kukulkan and Poseidon provide very similar things to an extent of what they're going to bring towards these team fights and what they bring as a character. Area control with the whirlpools, line skill shot, knockback or slow with the wands, movement speed with the twos, that same sort of thing. So very, very similar in a sense. Nemesis change. I like this one. Nemesis has been kind of dead for a while, so 2 seconds off that her regular ability, her regular damage ability. I think it's a really good buff for her. 2 seconds is quite a lot as well, especially because you're gonna get a bit of cooldown in her builds anyway in the jungle. So this is really going to come down to, let's just say 9 seconds, give or take, right? Or 10 to be fair. So a 10-second clear attack. Be a little bit wary of Nemesis. I think she's pretty potent, especially in a meta where some of the tanks can be pretty potent. So her shredding down tanks is really important. And she's pretty good against some of those squishier targets too. I think it's a good change for Nemesis, and I think it's just the right tone up, Like, I don't think it's going too far with Nemesis and overdoing it with her, but I do think it's a touch in the right direction, and I think it's a good idea for them to see how that affects things. Odin, a lot of play of Odin. as of late. I think this was the biggest one for me. I think a lot of people I really think the cooldown on this was important there, just because being up 75 seconds, but he builds cooldown anyway. His core kit had it. He was very effective with the Ring of Spears. And here's the thing: every single one of his abilities does damage now, and I think that's the other thing that people don't take into account with that Ring of Spears. I mean, for me, the Ring of Spears now does damage if you leave it. If you jump over it, you are taking damage from this ability. So it's definitely more effective in that sense. So when you've got 4 damage abilities, shock, lo and behold, Odin's having a bit more of a harder time at being in a balanced state from a lot of people's point of view. So, the other tone down areas, the power scaling, sure, it's still going to have his bird bomb combos that he's always going to have. But at the same time, I think that's where Odin's strength always was, with the bird bomb. But now this Gungears might rise into fruition. It just confirms the bird bomb if you get that stun that connects. We'll see how this goes overall. I mean, I think it's a good touch. I don't want him dead because I do like the things we've done to try and make him more relevant, but I do agree that he does need a tone down. Vermona, I don't think this is going to be enough overall. I think the changes to Vermona have been potent. This is definitely going to reduce it a little bit. The biggest difference here, we were giving him 5% movement speed at 3 stacks. It's now going to be 3% movement speed at 5 stacks. So overall, give or take, you get 3 hits on someone, you're at 9% movement speed. With this, you get 2 hits on someone, you're getting 10% movement speed. So yeah, it's a bit of it's pretty big nerf, I guess. 2 hits versus 3 for the same amount of movement speed. Well, realistically, it's 4 at max. Same sort of thing, but it caps out the same end. He can still build things like Katana, I guess. I don't think you should be going Katana, though. And I think if we do see pros play this, it'll be fine. But I don't think this was his biggest problem. It's definitely an issue, but they definitely increased the sustain on it last time, too. Mage's Blessing increased magical power from 20 to 30. Sure, I can understand why they're doing this. It's trying to get it to be more attractive again. Top level was often being ignored. Yeah, I mean, I guess, we've not seen it too much lately. There's a lot of Chronos Pendant rushes going on right now. So trying to make it a little bit more attractive with that 30 power makes it more relevant throughout the game. Okay, yeah, maybe it'll be enough. I'm scared of getting buffed too much, but there's so many different build starts that could end up happening as the season goes on. Sure. Enchanting Ring increased cost from 1100 to 1300. And added 15 power to it, so it did shift up in price at the tier 2 cost. But let's be real, 1100 for a tier 2 is pretty cheap in the big picture, so I can understand that. And yeah, I think that's what they thought here, right? Power curve, sure. 1100, pretty cheap. It's pretty easy to just fit in your build at some point. But then again, this could be given more power by 15 for that stage, for the additional 200 gold increase. I also do think that the enchanted ring, the rings are pretty good right now, and the ones that are building the rings, guess who it is? It's Oleron, Sol, and Freya. Remember me saying at the start of this, it's probably a Mage AD carry patch? Yeah, this is more reasons for it. Devourer's Gauntlet's next up, increased base physical lifesteal from 10 to 15%. I've seen a lot of debate on this on Twitter already from what I've seen so far today, and that's actually one of the reasons why I'm going to go in game real quick and show you again something that I've uploaded for you. So at the moment, it's at 10% lifesteal. Sure, you get more lifesteal from this once you stack up the passive, but you still need the stacks, right? So let's just take the flats real quick. 10% lifesteal. Assy is currently at 20% lifesteal, so that's 10% more effective. And more expensive, obviously, and get pen and shit like that. And then lifesteal on this is 15%, but then the shield. So this would actually bring this up to the middle ground, in my opinion, of being equal in lifesteal with Bloodforge, but at the same time still be behind Assy to an extent. I think I probably would have preferred it to be in the passive somewhere, the lifesteal stacks just increase to the same amount, to give it that extra 5% somewhere, instead of being upfront so much, just to give you a little bit more viability to an extent of the other options. I don't think they're out of the option here, but it does make it hyper attractive again, especially when you combine with this with a Transcendence change. It could really start to lean them in this direction. Now, if you've been watching any of the competitive play and the high level play, you've seen a lot more Bloodforged anyway, so I don't necessarily think Devourer's Gauntlet is going to really jump back into the meta, but it has a chance to, it's an extra bit of lifesteal in the long game by 5% on this item. That does add up. Sustain is always important in Smite, and it's going to keep you in lane a little bit longer potentially. It's going to let you survive a little bit more. It's definitely viable. Is it enough? We'll see. Transcendence still there, still existing, a little bit of a nerf there, but we've definitely seen a little bit more of this Bloodforge rush anyway. Does this mean that Bloodforge gets replaced by Devourer's Gauntlet now? Who knows? We'll see. Possible, not 100% guaranteed. I don't think it's anything to scream about though. Like I don't think it's like that crazy of a change. But at the same time, I think I would have preferred personally to see that go into the passive rather than as the flat bass. Afro. Next up, reduce kiss. This is pretty big. The kiss is a 1 point wonder, right? Like it's a 2 second nerf in the early game is the difference here, but it still scales down to the same end of 12 seconds, right? So we get a couple of 0.5s in there. But it's really this 1 point because with kiss, you generally only really put in 1 point in this. Most of the time you're maxing doves and you're maxing your back off before you even look at maxing your kiss. And then you still get your ultimate too, which you probably want to probably going to want to put more points in anyway. So Kiss is a 1 point wonder, so that coming down by 2 seconds makes it a lot better. Remember that Afro's already had like the refire ability onto teammates if she connects anyway. Like so as long as she's hitting targets with this, it's going to make her even more effective. But when she does miss, or she misses the target, or she uses it aggressively, it's going to be up more often. Pretty good change. The Lovebirds, I don't think the kiss, by the way, is going to make a huge difference, but it's a nice little touch, I guess, and like trying to nod in her favour. I know people are saying like she's really potent right now. Why am I not seeing it? I guess in one sense, from a high res point of view, I know what they mean, but at the same time, yeah, I think she's really good. And now this change with Lovebirds now has an initial hit. Now the damage is staying the same, but this initial hit is the same thing they did to Kukulkan when they made the tornado tick straight away. I will say Doves. I felt like Doves needed this more than Kukulkan tornado, so to speak. Because watching Afros play, when they fire off Doves, it does feel like a second that you've got to double check that they were still in range to get hit by the Doves before you can start to see if you can follow up, or your teammates can realize they're going to lose a little bit more health, or you've applied an anti-heal or something like that. So having that a little bit more upfront is pretty good. Is it too potent? Who knows? Who knows? Probably not. He just fires off the damage quicker more than anything else. It's not increasing anything else, I feel like. Cerberus increase HP from 86 to 95. I brought this up for a reason on these screens here. So you can see 86 is his health here. Sobek is also getting this change, this patch by the way, for the same actual situation, but I'll talk about his other change later. 86 here. So Cerberus and Sobek are actually really low on the health per level. I just wanted to bring up some examples for you all. 95 for Terra, who's a very similar but not similar playstyle to Sobek and Cerberus. Sure, she's got sustain, she's melee range and focus, she's in the mix a lot more. She's got about the same amount of escapability to an extent, and she gets a little bit more health there. And then you've also got Ymir. Well, he's got less mobility, but that's why he gets even more of a health. So I can understand why the increase to Cerberus on the base health might just help him out. Just a little touch in that direction, see if that helps him out. Sometimes this shit really does make a difference, by the way. Remember, that's per level. It's not start the game, right? Like, it's per level. Bit of a change there. Guan Yu Warriors will remove the camera lock when using this ability. This was a request from Clumsy. I remember like hearing him say this because like this is something that's just a tiny little like extra level of mechanical help at the top end, where your camera would lock when you use your two. This just allows you to be in position to continue firing or something like that. It's not a huge thing, but it's a small thing that may help out a quality of life situation. Merlin's getting nerfed again. I think this is where it really needed it. The magical power scaling of the damage per tick on the mastery. I think elemental mastery is really potent for the transformation and what you do there. And Dragonfire like changed a bit. Sure, I think Merlin's fine now. I think a lot of people just need to start to get used to him. He's got, what is it, 9 abilities plus his ultimate, which is technically 3 different versions when he twitches chances. So let's just class it as 9 anyway. 9 damage in it, well, 8 abilities. It's not even 8. Let's think clearly. Sorry. I'm doing this on the fly. 2, 4, 6. So it's 6 abilities plus the ultimate. So when you're going to have that many abilities that deal damage, you're going to deal a lot of damage. But you can play him around him a little bit more now. His flicker's had a lot of nerfs too. I think he's in an okay spot. He's potent, sure. Is he super safe? Kinda, mainly because of Flicker. And what do we know about Flicker? Well, Blink just got nerfed. Same sort of reasons. The only difference is Flicker's fucking combat Blink. Noir. Increased base movement speed from for soldiers. This is pretty big. 425. Fucking hell. These are going to be zooming across the map at 425, and the cooldown comes down, so give us a spam more often. With New Raw as well, I just want to show you, like, this is an 8-second ability on Shining Metal, so there's a little bit more better rotations of potentially getting more clay soldiers up and a higher chance to have your combo available. Because the one thing I feel like New War struggles with, like, you want to throw your 3 out for damage, but then sometimes once you've done that, you're like, oh, my clay soldiers are back up. You spawn your clay soldiers and you look at your Shining Metal like, come on, baby, get off cooldown. So having clay soldiers up a little bit more often going to be impactful. But not only that, it just gives you more chance of performing the combo because they're fucking zooming at the targets. Oleron up next. Yeah, buffs. That's all I'm going to say here. 3 buffs. 3. Increased crit chance from 50% to 60. Okay. Critical hits, I should say. Increase the damage from it, sure. And increased damage on the one. 110 to 290, so it's 10 at every level for that at base. And then consecration, the slow is increased by 30%. Remember how I said auto attack hunters, auto attack mages? I think Oleron's in that boat. I think Oleron was actually kind of fine at the real high level, but you need a team to play with him and play around him. I think the love towards other items in this tree, like the enchanted ring, took a bit of a hit, but at the same time got a power increase for it, so yada yada. It still balances out. But the lifesteal on the Shoes of the Magi definitely helps out there too, to make him a little bit more relevant. Shoes of the Magi are probably going to be pretty good on him. Persephone changes, definitely debated here. I like the Harvest stuff. I'm just going to say that real quick. I think this is good stuff in a weird way because she is a bit of a trickier god to play. And sure, we don't want to dumb everything down. I can agree with that. But at the same time, there's a lot of math to this god, and like making some of these things a little bit more understandable or easier makes sense to me. I will go into things that I disagree with on Persephone in terms of what she brings, and I'm not going to side everywhere here. But generally, purify time and the ability on Harvest, decrease the minimum distance between Harvest placement from 5 units to 2.5. Decrease the minimum distance between harvest placements. Okay, so it's just made it closer to like group up some of the harvests, I guess. Sprout, decrease time the base harvest plant takes to evolve into sprout. This is one that I think is a really good change because I think there's a lot of waiting around in Persephone to feel like you're useful in a very heavy team environment, and then comms and with a proper like organized team. Persephone's really strong, but with your average casuals and stuff like that, it's a bit tricky to play. But I think it's also people need to learn to play a little bit more aggressively and stop trying to set up farms all the time and realizing that they can play with the mobile farm that they get from harvest. Decreased time base evolves into spike from 4 to 2.5, so that's going to be pretty impactful there, I think, in terms of like getting it down, getting it to rank 2. But then the flower itself, decrease the time the harvest plant takes to evolve from 24 to 16. That's a big jump, by the way. 24 seconds was quite a while. 16 is a little bit more, manageable to an extent. I think that just means 4 seconds to 16 is the window for getting to tier 3. However, this is interesting too, which is decrease the chase time from 3 seconds to 2.2. So what this technically means, right, just so you know, it's going to be alive longer, but it's going to fucking move at you faster, right? So you're going to run your little ass as fast as you can away for 2.2 seconds rather than 3. Is this a good change overall? I think this is really potent. I think there's a really potent change in just this bit here, because you're going to have more of these plants available to chase you. They're going to zoom a little bit quicker, but they're not going to survive as long once you proc them. Be aware of these plants on the map. This is how you kind of play around this, if I'm honest. I know you guys are going to be like, well, no shit, but yeah. Look at the plant stage when they're nearby a team fight or she's put some down. If they're in that tier 2 stage and about to transfer into that tier 3, or in tier 3 stage waiting to be hit, then be aware of the surroundings that you're in to be able to run away and find a path away from it. You can still juke them, I expect, but I think it's still going to be tricky. We'll see how it works out in PTS, honestly. Grasp of Death. Decrease speed at which the tether will reach to grab you by 50%. Sure, that's good, so it's kind of slower, so you got a bit more of a escape chance. Decrease attack speed penalty to 15%. I don't even think, personally guys, I don't think this needs attack speed reduction on it. This bastard thing has got 15, well, let's see, where is it? I pulled it up for a reason. What is it? 5 hits, right? 5 basic attacks ending this attack. So any mage hit by this, say goodnight. Any guardian hit by this, unless you're building attack speed on these guys, say goodnight. 5 hits is a long time to be attacking the roots to try and destroy them to get away. Not only does this deal damage, not only does it keep you pinned in place, it's a cripple as well. It does decent damage, it's across the map, it tethers to walls, so it can't really be missed to an extent, because you can still get hit by this. Sure, the root direction coming down, I don't even think it needs attack speed in the first place. Like, it doesn't need the attack speed reduction. It just means that hunters are more effective against it, right? If you build attack speed against her, you're going to be more effective. If you've got an auto-attack assassin in the jungle, you're going to be more effective against destroying the actual plant. But it doesn't mean you're going to absorb the damage and ignore it, right? You're still taking damage from this ability anyway. I don't think it even needs attack speed. That's definitely something that I could definitely consider. Sobek. Increase health per level. We mentioned that a little bit earlier on, along with the change to Cerberus. I'm going to go back over that again, but that makes sense. Increasing healing, though. I like the not increasing the damage done big key here, but they are increasing his sustain a little bit. 20 to 60, 30 to 70. Definitely makes him a little bit more viable again towards the solo lane for more natural sustain there. Can compete a little bit more, I would suggest, with the Gladiator Shield sort of warrior builds that we see a lot of, obviously, all the time, but at the same time still comes at some constraints. I think this is a fine change to try and give Sobek a bit of a nudge of love. I don't think he necessarily needed it in my personal eyes, but at the same time, like a little nudge in the direction to give him a bit of buff there to try and help him out a little bit. I can see that. Next up, Sol, and this is, once again, going back to my whole idea of AA. Man, this is 30 minutes. I'm so sorry, guys. I just looked at the clock and realised I've been going for 30. I was like, I can do this in 10, no problem. Nope, not a chance. Maybe I'll get quicker in the future, but I ain't fucking redoing it now. And if you don't like the language, go back to the Patch Note show, where I'm not there anymore. Not because of my language. I was kind of good on there. We had Tina there to safety, but now I've got to, I'm on my own channel. I can do what I want. Yeah. I can be real. I'm real. Whatever. Unstable manifestation. Sol loses heat faster than decay speed reduced by 25%. I think this is really smart. This is where Sol really was kind of struggling for me. I think like her heat generation and sustain was a bit trickier. Radiance the damage from this ability no longer causes minion hit reactions. This is really interesting actually that they've done that, because obviously there was a little bit of a tick issue when if you drop the one on the ground the minions would push themselves away. Now that change has been done to a few gods in the past, but it does mean like clearing the wave could be a bit more effective with that ability when you need it to. At the same time, how often do you really want to do that? I'm not so sure. Will definitely help. I mean, it's not gonna. I was gonna say will definitely help with jungle clear or something, but whatever. It's not a huge thing. It's a minor thing, but it can help with clearing the minion wave here or there. And Supernova time between shots decreased from 0.24 to 0.18. So that means the speed up. That means the faster. Increase the heat gain from firing this ability from 10 to 40. Ooh, so it's gonna really help her power up her actual manifestation. Sorry, her heat overall, but at the same time it's much quicker shots. I'm interested in that because that means it's more likely to be able to be used as a potential knock-up. That's kind of how I see that ability. At the same time, sure, if you've already hit the first one, you're probably getting another shot or two off a little bit more effectively on her. This is a good buff for Sol. I also want to reiterate again the shoes and the Magi with the auto attack hunters. I think lifesteal auto attack mages, I keep calling them hunters because they basically are. Auto attack mages are definitely like in vogue. They're getting a lot of love. They've got a lot of good build options. I think the rings are in a really good spot. The fact that the way their penetration works with the fact they've got demonic ring is very effective, and I actually think mages in the auto attack position have a bit of a chance of rising. However, crits in the meta, boys and girls, remember that. But how much is crit in the meta? Spectral Armor may say otherwise, but at the same time, Nimius is nerfed. Don't worry about hunters, they're still good. Finally, Jing 10. Yeah, I can see the reaction of this one. Like, sure, decrease the duration of the route, and I think that's fine. Like, a 2-second route is pretty damn potent. Jing tended to get some love elsewhere in his kit, and in fairness, we buffed him. The company buffed him a lot, like, before the end of the season, and they were good buffs in terms of his ultimate and stuff like that. And I kind of knew when they did that eventually they were going to have to tone him somewhere because he was going to be so much more efficient and effective. So they've gone with Hook Slam, decreasing the route duration, which makes sense to me. It's still 1.4 seconds. It's still going to go through the same animation. It's still at the same early game rate that you're going to have it at. It's not too much of a nerf. I mean, 2 seconds is a pretty long duration. It's going to be unfortunate to see it go to 1.4, and then with CCR it'll come down even lower, but it's still going to do what its job does. Don't forget with a hook slam though, that when you actually use a hook slam, this is only on the root duration, right? You can hit the root on someone and not the actual first part of the lift into the air. If you lift someone into the freaking air, that isn't reduced. That stays at the same amount that you go into the air for. If you hit the whole combo on someone, this is just still a good CC. Don't be afraid of hook slam. It's still going to be okay. Just a small nerf there. Skycutting Axe decreased damage from 65 to 145 to 60 to 140. I mean, sure, it's a small damage nerf to Skycutting Axe. It is pretty potent in the later stages. I agree with that. And his actual damage and abilities are pretty potent anyway. Like his Furious Roar is probably one of his best abilities. And if you're not using Furious Roar and maxing that like a little bit earlier than anything else, you're probably not really thinking about things right, because that does damage percent. But not only does it do damage percent, boys and girls, it does one other thing, which is reduce damage they do. And that is something that people underestimate about Gen 10. Anyway, that's it for me in the patch notes. I hope you enjoyed my overview and my expectations, what I thought about what went on here with the patch. I'm probably going to do this in the future if people like him. I'm but I will try and cut them down and, speed read through a little bit more. I just thought, fuck it, I didn't do patch notes today. Kind of want to do patch notes. So I did one and put it on my own channel. Leave a YouTube comment if you want to say something nice. Leave a better YouTube comment if you want to say something nasty to me, because then I'll upvote it, like it, and then retort with some witty banter. And if you do like this, like it. And if you want to subscribe, do so. I guess. I don't even know how YouTube works anymore. It's been so long. But anyway, in the meantime, I hope you enjoy the patch. Hope your skin's OP. Geb's coming out. Mages in the ADC role could be a thing again. Peace. See y'all later.